Howdy, y'all, and good time zone. Welcome back to the Humans of Twitch, a podcast showcasing the diverse backgrounds of individuals who have found enjoyment and community through online gaming. I'm Environet, and today I am joined by a dear friend, a fellow Southerner. We have a lot of good banter, and is someone who's a more recent friend of mine, but I do enjoy chatting with, and I think provides a very interesting perspective compared to other friends I have online. And yeah, I'd love for you to get to know him, and also me learn a lot more about him as well. And let's just have a little chat about our similarities growing up in the South of the United States. So, take it away, future me. All right. Hi, Scott. So good of you to join me for round 3.
Yeah, round 3 of recording. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I convinced Scott to do this 3 times. Ha 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 ha. Just
3
kidding.
times. 3 long, grueling times. No, I'm joking.
The third time will only be 10 minutes, and then you'll get to see our second take. But yeah, first round, Scott recorded both the desktop audio as well as his audio, which I forgot to remind him to not do that. But yeah, it turns out our mic differences were too vastly different, but it would just been a lot of work. And the second time, Scott started recording 10 minutes into the interview. So we're just gonna redo those 10 minutes, and it'll be great. And so yeah. Well, how are you doing today, Scott?
Doing pretty good. How are you not?
Let's go. Yeah, doing fine and dandy. So why don't we give a little introduction of yourself? Whatever you want to share.
Yeah, so I am 2DBlur, aka Scott. My pronouns are he, him. I am a avid video game player as well as collector. Mm-hmm. Just practically anything video game related as far as like Nintendo, Sega, Sony, I'm there. Never really got into Xbox, Microsoft stuff, but that's cool stuff too. Just a gamer guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How long have you been on Twitch?
About 3-4 years now, I think.
Okay, yeah.
When I first started out, I really just lurked. I never really joined any communities. Mm-hmm. But, and I've always been aware of Twitch longer than that, but never really actively engaged with streams. As far as even just watching them, because didn't Twitch start like sometime in 2012 or 13? I want to say
it was
somewhere.
It was Justin TV around 2012, if I remember correctly. But I don't know when Justin TV started. I don't think much earlier than that.
Yeah, it wasn't that much earlier, but
I don't think the technologies were really there for a lot of intensive live streaming like that. But I don't know.
They kind
at least
of
for at home, but I don't know.
Yeah, it really depended, because there was also like Ustream and live stream, which I actually had a friend that streamed on live stream. He did like Mario Picross live, which was pretty fun.
Cool. I like Picrosses.
Yeah, but if you guys think that Twitch is bad with ads, like there was an ad playing on live stream like every 5 minutes. It was ridiculous. Yeah. That
is wild. All right, so let's dig into what is the origin story of 2DBlur as a username?
Oh yeah, as a username, it's something I kind of just came up with on the spot. So 2D comes from a character from Gorillaz. So there's a character named 2D, and then Blur comes from the band Blur. Both created by Damon Albarn. So both bands were created by Damon Albarn.
Yeah.
I just really love the music from both bands. They're kind of vastly different. Like Blur's a bit more Britpoppy rock, and then Gorillaz is just really more experimental because he wanted to just do more than Britpop and rock. He wanted to just expand the horizons of what he could do, and Gorillaz really just allowed him to do that. But
and this is Feel Good Inc., right?
Gorillaz would be Feel Good Inc., Clint Eastwood. Those are the 2 big hits. But yeah, and the most recent CDs they put out, or albums I should say, just sound way different than those. So some people are happy about it, some people aren't. But Cracker Island is a great album. But yeah, so it just really came from me wanting to get away from my old username, because that was Kumo Tenchi, which is like Spider Angel or Cloud Angel, depending on the kanji and context. But I was going for Cloud Angel with mine. So yeah, I wanted to get away from that because I felt like I was taking something from another culture, language that didn't really belong to me. It could give the wrong impression that I may be Japanese. So, you know, at the time, though, when I made it when I was like 15, it was really cool. And I think a lot of kids and teens do that. They'll say, oh, I'll take these words from another language, you know, and it'll be really cool. But in reality, probably shouldn't be doing that. But
at least you were learning a language and stuff at that point, right? Wasn't that when you started learning Japanese?
Yeah, exactly. So I was getting into it. I had taught myself hiragana, katakana, some very basic kanji. I didn't really want to touch that at that point. But I was learning basic words. Yeah, the kanji didn't come until I was like 20, 21. So yeah, I didn't really intend to ever explain the 2DBlur thing. But what I hoped it would become is like 2D and blur for like kind of speedrunning 2D games. But yeah, not that I mind explaining the whole 2DBlur. You know, but yeah, so it's a really good question to ask where it came from.
Yeah. And because I mentioned this in our first recording, but I can just be upfront and not just like pretend that this was my reaction. But like, this was my reaction the first time, was just like, oh, I definitely thought it was just from like wanting to speedrun 2D video games or something. So it's like kind of a clever 2-for-1 type of thing. What's the word for that again? Like, what is it whenever something has two meanings? That can be, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Double-sided? That's... I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
It's been a second since, like, you know, there's the English classes of, like, junior and senior year.
Oh, God, yeah. But, yeah, the funny thing is, while we're on the topic of it, people will recognize it. Because I've had some people during stream, they'll be like, oh, Gorillas, or oh, Blur, are you an Albarn fan? Yeah, like Damon Albarn.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I've had it happen a few times now, both in yours and Leanne's streams.
In mine too? Oh, yeah. I totally missed that, or just didn't know what that meant, and then just like, zoop, just let it, just kept going. Just so funny.
Yeah, and I always just, you know, I'm like, yeah, that is it. But, you know, it's just something I never really intended to explain, because I didn't want to belong to, like, a fandom, you know? Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense, but...
Yeah, you're like, no, I can escape this way. No, it's this way, I swear, yeah.
Yeah, but no,
I'm kidding.
I decided to just, you know, if people figure it out, whatever.
Yeah, no, that is super sick. But yeah, so, considering you are a big video game aficionado of at least Nintendo, Sega, Sony, etc., what would you say was your first video game console memory, or video game just memories in general?
Yeah, Super NES was my first video game console. I have a few memories, quite a few memories with that console. I was like 4, maybe 4.5 when I got it. So the first memory is just playing Real Monsters, because that was like really the first video game I had based on the cartoon Real Monsters. I don't, like, I never beat it or anything, you know. I was like 4.5, and it's one of those license games that are just really hard for no reason. Yeah. So, you know, no clear direction of what to do. Oh, yeah.
Starting Super Metroid, and then I have Oracle of Seasons too on the Game Boy, so I'm in difficult game categories right now. Yeah. But that's okay. We're making it through. It's fun. It's very interesting, so yeah.
Oh, but yeah, anyway. I think you'll have a lot of fun with Super Metroid, because once you get, like, all of the abilities, it makes the game, like, way easier, and you fill in the map as you go, so that one I think you'll have a lot of fun with over time.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, so there was that, and then Donkey Kong Country, my first true platformer. Such a good game. I would just play that so long, like for hours and hours. And then my dad would start a new file on it because we borrowed the copy from like my uncle. And so he would start a file on it. He would get so far, and then I would go in and erase the file because he drilled it in my head to only choose one file, you know, because the others are my uncle's. So I would erase his file, play the game, get farther than where he was, and then before he got home from work, I would reset the game, erase the file, get the file to where my dad was. And then he never knew. He was never
so funny. Until now. Mwahaha. He's gonna be listening and realize this. How he gets sabotaged. Just... so funny.
One more quick memory. So we had Mortal Kombat, which my mom was not happy with.
I bet,
my dad wanted it. So I was like, 5 playing Mortal Kombat. But
and you see where he got now.
Oh yeah,
just
look at me
obsessed with
now.
video games and violence.
So much violence. Yeah, that's my favorite. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Definitely buy your plushies in the background for the YouTube.
Oh
watchers.
yeah. I'm such a violent fan. Yeah, look at me.
Yeah.
But so when my sister was being born, my mom and dad were at the hospital, and they left me home with my grandma. So my grandma played Mortal Kombat with me one night.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't mention this one the other times we were recording.
That's
amazing.
Yeah, I didn't mention it last time because I really started thinking back after, and all these memories came flooding back. So this is like some bonus content for you.
Bonus.
Yeah. But
that you don't even realize. This bonus for me. The ultimate Patreon. Anyway.
Yes. So, we were playing Mortal Kombat. She was Scorpion, and anyone that's played Mortal Kombat will know what I'm talking about. I don't know if you will.
Yeah.
But
I have not. The name sounds familiar, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so we were just playing, and she started, like, button mashing, and whatever combination she did made Scorpion do the get over here. Like, he throws out a chain and pulls you back, and then, like, scorches hellfire on you, and you just melt. And my grandma was just, like, flabbergasted by that. And I was just like, whoa, that's so cool.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, my grandma, brought me to the hospital, and she was like, yeah, we played Mortal Kombat. And my dad was like, oh yeah? And I was like, yeah, she was so cool. She actually did the Scorpion thing. And my dad was just like, that's cool. And my mom and grandma are just like, what is going on here?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. As someone who's like, none of my relatives I can think of anyone, like, play video games, so
yeah.
That's just, like, funny to hear, like, outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really fun memory. And then, of course, I got the Nintendo 64, and my very first Mario game was Mario 64.
Aww.
So something I think about often is how I got to experience Mario for the first time in 3D. And then all the gamers that came before me, they were like seeing this transition for the first time into 3D while I just got to experience out the gate. Because we never got Mario World. And then I saw my uncle play Mario 3, but he never let me play it. So,
yeah. Gotcha.
But yeah, so a lot of 64 games, Ocarina of Time, I was beating that at like age 6. Mario 64, and then Pokemon came out, and that was just my world at that point.
Yeah, mine was definitely the Game Boy Color, with really bad games. I think I mentioned this almost every podcast episode now, but I've been thinking about it, so I won't go into it too much. And then I had Game Boy Color to Game Boy Advance, then GameCube. So I guess just that sort of progression of that particular era of Nintendo games, I guess. Never got the 64, never got NES or SNES, but at least until now. Now Gary has him, so
yeah,
okay. Yeah. And then there's also Switch Online and stuff, so that's cool. But
yeah, plenty of ways to enjoy the classics nowadays, and sometimes I'm a bit jealous of you because I'm like, wow, she's getting to explore the world of like Pokemon Snap for the first time.
Yeah.
Like the very first time I played that game, like it's just a magical experience, and every time I play it now, I'm like trying so hard to recapture that experience, but I know I'll never be able to. So
yeah, no, that's like a kind of nice thing about having grown up with only a few games.
Yeah,
because then now I get to like, yeah, I know a lot of people were that way, like with the first stream of Super Metroid, being like, because I have never played a Metroid game before, so yeah.
So you know, it works out, and I'm really happy to watch you, you know, do it for the first time. So it's like reliving that experience all over
vicariously through me.
Yeah.
No, it's been fun so far. But anyway, I think this is the bit that we missed from earlier. So I'll just be upfront and be like, all right, we're going to transition to Past Us. Did you grow up with dial-up, and how would you describe your gaming experience as a kid having the internet you had?
So I did grow up with dial-up. I'm gonna even take it one step back and say I really grew up with this weird kind of combination of like cable and internet. So my mom, when I was like 5, my mom got this box, and they would connect it to the TV, and the internet was on your television, and you could like do searches, look at web pages and stuff. So that was my true introduction to the internet. We didn't keep it that long though. Because it was more novelty and we didn't really know what to do with the internet. But yeah, fast forward, dial-up. Wow, yeah.
How did we survive?
I have no idea. Like 1.5 megabits per second download speed. That was like blazing fast back then.
Yeah. With no one attempting to do anything else, you know?
Yeah. And then, you know, the phone would ring, you'd pick it up. Oh, there goes the internet.
Or like, hey, I need to make a call. Can you get off the computer?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, no, I need to save my stuff. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think my early days of Club Penguin at like 9 or 10 was with dial-up internet, and that was an experience, to say the least. Couldn't do a ton, but I would usually be able to survive. I would survive enough to have fun, needless to say, but I definitely would benefit more from the games I could download. And eventually we got semi-better internet, but honestly, my family only got good internet in 2019.
Oh, really?
Mostly because the internet providers didn't have any like holes on our side of a highway.
Oh,
and so we would have to pay like, I think like $5,000 or something like that, like little thousands, like to install it, like actual good internet, because otherwise it was just absolutely garbage.
It's difficult to get good internet, especially like if you're out in the rural areas. Which is where and even then so I'm grateful now that we kind of just bit the bullet and got it, but it eventually paid off. But it was, I mean, if the money wasn't there, then probably still be stuck with it. Yeah, for sure, because those internet companies won't budge if they don't think they can make a profit off of it, or if it's not seen as, so they won't do it themselves, basically, which is unfortunate, but unfortunately they're businesses, so what you gonna do?
And we were literally the only ones on this.
That was never
there'd be literally no
that was never gonna happen.
I think the nearest neighbors are miles away, so. Which, to kind of speaking of like growing up in rural parts, you're likely the most fellow country person I've met on Twitch, at least having lived both rural and city wise. So and one of our favorite jokes in our server is that you grew up on a horse farm. Can you share a little bit of his horse farm?
So I did grow up more out in the country in my teen years. So around the time I was 14, 15, we moved to a horse ranch out in the country, which that was a big culture shock, because honestly, I grew up more in the city. So like we had like malls, you know, like small business restaurants. What's a mall? Yeah. But yeah, so that was a huge culture shock moving out to the country. Just totally different vibes. They were nice vibes though. It was a horse ranch. Learned a lot about horses and polishing saddles. So
Yep, gotta polish your
yeah,
saddles.
probably the most important lesson I learned there.
Yeah.
But
Scott and I nailed a codenames session one time because we got a clue for polishing. Though it was inadvertent because it was just, we were just like, yeah, no, saddles has to be one of the ones, and just happened to be one of our answers, but the person who gave it to us was just like, wait, you polish saddles?
yeah,
It was just so confusing, but we were just like, yeah, no. And like everyone else in the lobby, like, or in the game was just like, what? How do y'all know this? It's like, oh no, it's just.
I thought it was.
You've been around horses, you know that it's a thing to polish your
Yeah.
polish saddles.
Yeah, I just thought it was.
But that's
common.
a nice little bonding moment between us. Polishing saddles.
Yeah, what a moment that was. Never forget it.
Never forgot. What were some of the first communities online that you joined? You touched on it a little bit with Insider and Nintendo, but yeah, speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first true active community I was in was actually a spin-off called Nintendo Kennel Club, which was when Nintendogs came out. Nintendo created like a sub-forum just for Nintendogs, and that was my true first gaming community. But if we want to go back a bit further, Neopets was actually my true just like kind of online community. People just hanging out, you know, playing Neopets.
Yeah.
Which it was a totally different vibe back then, Neopets was.
Yeah.
You know, they had the Neo boards, which was like their forums basically. Those were fun times. There were a lot of women on the Neo boards, and so I would still like talk and hang out with them. You know, it was cool. But as I don't know, I want to say I was like 11 or 12. As an 11 or 12-year-old, a lot of these were like grown women, like in their 20s. You really get to learn a lot, especially me because I was homeschooled. For the majority of my life, you get to learn a lot about things, words. Yeah. So for example, one word they like to throw around a lot, you know, was the word slut. And, like they would call each other that, you know, which power to them, you know, great for them, if they want to do that. But as a 12-year-old boy, I had no idea what that meant. Especially being,
you were so innocent.
I was really innocent, really sheltered. So, you know, I'm just picking up on all these words and in this community, talking to them, laughing with them. And then one day, it was like a summer day, and like me and my sister just weren't doing anything for like a full week. And I guess my mom just couldn't take it anymore. And she was just like, hey, you got to start doing your chores, you know. You're just doing nothing all day, every day, just playing video games, watching TV. And so I was kind of getting into this sort of, I guess, rebellious phase. So I just kind of like rolled my eyes and I looked at my sister and then back at my mom and I just said, yeah, Megan, we're just a bunch of lazy sluts. So, so the look on my mom's face, like she was like just super shocked. And she was just like, where did you learn that word from? Like, where did this come from?
I'm surprised you were still able to be on the internet after that.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was Neopets. And I would always just tell my mom I was playing Neopets. She didn't know about, like, the Neo boards or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I was just like, I learned it on the internet. And, like, she was just, like, so shocked. And my mom's not violent in the slightest. I don't want to give the wrong impression. Like, she never hit me growing up and doesn't believe in physical violence. But I guess the shock of me calling me and my sister just sluts, it was, like, just so mind-blowing that I got a bit of a smack on the cheek. It didn't hurt, but it was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was just like, what? Okay, I messed up here. So I was like, I'm never saying a word if I don't know the meaning again. Because in my head, the word slut may have been just like slug, you know? So I don't know why I made that correlation, because they were always calling each other lazy sluts on the Neo boards. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you decide, okay, I'll just,
Yeah.
that's how words happen. It's like, oh, you learn it, and it's like, let me try using it out.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah.
It's like that one episode of SpongeBob. They're just sentence enhancers, you know? I don't know if you've ever watched SpongeBob, but I'm sure someone listening has. So.
Are you talking about whenever
sailor
like,
mouth and the dolphin noises would come out when they would like SpongeBob would be like how the and then dolphin noises would happen. Aria.
Yeah. So good, so funny.
Yeah,
I love SpongeBob.
Yeah, I think that episode is actually a really good example of like kids learning these cuss words and stuff and just running with it. So.
Yeah, I have a similar story too. Well. Ish, where I think I was 3 or 4 and I was just learning how to speak, but I could say words and I was like quickly learning things at this point, or like quickly just like saying things. And I think, we went shopping and then with my mom and me and my dad, I think. I feel like it was the 3 of us, but yeah. And like we came back and there was like a bird had pooped on a windshield and my mom was just like kind of frustrated. It was just like, I have to clean up this bird shit. And then I think I just turned to my dad and was just like, what's bird shit? And they were just like mortified.
Yeah.
For a record, we're both Southerners too.
Oh,
so
yeah. You see, the funny thing is, I grew up in my household, like my mom and dad, like they would just freely curse. So like as long as we didn't say it, it was okay, but they could say whatever they wanted. So that actually just reminded me of a story, just a quick one. But I collected Pokemon cards as a kid, like 5-year-old, you know.
I could see that.
Yeah, and my mom would always buy me a pack when we went to Target. So one day we went to Target with, my dad and uncle, and then we got back in the car and I opened my, booster pack and there was a Chansey inside, super rare Pokemon, and it was a really rare card.
Nice, yeah.
And I just said, holy shit. And my mom, dad, and uncle, they all just kind of laughed, but my uncle was like, no, Scott, don't say that. Don't say that, because
I'm sure they were, holding back laughing.
Yeah.
So hard.
It was a little more innocent than the slut incident, I'll say that.
Yeah. I wouldn't say my family would cuss that much. I think only in the last couple of years have we just been like, oh, okay.
Like, a bit more free.
All, like, adults.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny how that happens.
Uh-huh.
And the languages you learn.
Oh,
man. How would you say the way you have played video games has changed over time? Like, from those Neopet days?
Well, I'm an adult with a full-time job now, so sadly, I don't get to game as much as I want. But I was a hardcore gamer as a kid. Like, even at age 5, like, we would play Diddy Kong Racing, and like my uncles came over for my birthday party once, and it was my dad and 2 of my uncles and me just playing Diddy Kong Racing, and I would just keep like beating them. Like, I learned all the right speed boosts. Like, before you hit a speed boost in Diddy Kong Racing, if you let go of the acceleration, like, it gives you a bigger boost. So like I learned all those tricks, and I was just beating all these grown men, and my uncle said to my dad, he was like, you need to take him to Vegas and make people think that like he's just really bad, and then let him fight someone or whatever, and then just make money with that.
Oh my gosh, missed opportunities there.
Yeah. So when you say change, though, what do you mean exactly? Like the thought process behind playing games, or
like the type of games you
played?
Like,
games.
Say, how have those early, like the games that you played early on, like impacted the types of games that you've played years since? Yeah,
definitely. So I grew up with 2D platformers, Donkey Kong Country being number 1. That was my true first game, I guess, after Real Monsters. So I loved that game so much that like my dad would start a save file and then like get to a save point, and then he would go to work the next day, and I would wake up and start playing it and get to the point. I would erase his file and then get to the point my dad was at, and then save it, and then like he'd come home and be none the wiser, because he was really playing that, and he was always telling me, don't erase my save file or whatever. And there are 2 other save slots, but we were borrowing it from a friend at the time, and then later we bought our own copy. But yeah, so that was so much fun. So Donkey Kong Country got me hooked on platformers. And then I got the Nintendo 64 for Christmas, and it had just came out like a few months before. Yeah, so it was like brand new. So I got Super Mario 64. My uncle got me Diddy Kong Racing. So, you know, already getting me into the 3D platformers, the racing games. And then Pokemon came out, and I actually watched the anime first. That was my first exposure to Pokemon. And I was like, okay, I want this game. And for my birthday, my mom and dad took me to the store, got me a Game Boy Color, got me Pokemon, I want to say Blue. I actually went with Blue. And that got me into RPGs. So, yeah, the Nintendo 64 era and the Super NES era just really made me get into those sorts of games. Star Fox 64, that's another big one. I played that.
I've never played a Star Fox game, but it seems really fun.
Yeah, honestly, there may be only 2 good, maybe 3 good Star Fox games. But Star Fox 64 is the best one. It's a rail shooter. So, you know, you're just kind of playing through the levels in a predetermined path, basically, and shooting things. With your like spaceship thing, so R-Wing is what they're called. But yeah.
I noticed a lack of Zelda in there, but
Zelda.
It's fine.
Oh, we haven't even touched Zelda. Ocarina of Time was my first Zelda game, and I would just play that for hours and hours. Even if it was just running through Hyrule Field doing nothing, I would just play that for hours, and it was so good. I beat it myself. So the first playthrough, I played it with my dad, and sometimes he'd take over or whatever. But my second playthrough, I just played it on my own from start to finish, and that was just so good. I was like 6, I believe. I was like 6 years old.
That makes me feel bad for the time my first time playing it last year.
Oh yeah,
and struggling at some bits at 28.
Well, I mean,
that's fine.
To be fair, we did have the Prima like strategy guide, so like I would actually read through that sometimes, and then, you know, I did watch my dad play it. Like I said, the first time through, he would let me play here and there, but so I think that helped. But yeah.
Thank you. That makes me feel a little better.
But I didn't struggle on my own playthrough, you know, so I just gotta give myself some props there.
It's a gamer prodigy as a 6-year-old, you know.
Yeah, just a natural at video games.
Yeah, so aside from Neopets, as we touched on, and then Nintendo, like, well, how would you say you got into watching content online and like eventually leading to Twitch?
Yeah, so
what was that story like?
So it actually started with YouTube. Some of the earliest creators I watched, and they're really not that well known, but there's Chip Cheesem. He did Metal Gear Solid Let's Plays. There's Raocow. He does a lot of Super Mario World stuff and like Super Mario World ROM hacks. There's Voidburger.
How would you define a Let's Play?
A Let's Play.
How would you define?
Yeah, maybe I should, because I don't think a lot of people in this day and age would really get that.
Actually, don't think I do.
Oh, okay, cool. So, Let's Play. So it is what it sounds like. So you're watching someone play through the entirety of the game, and they're doing commentary over it. So the commentary that the creators I watch, they would give full detail about the game. So like if there's Easter eggs or, you know, whatever, like they just go fully in depth with these games and really teach you everything there is to know about them. They're not necessarily just that. That's just the creators I watch. A lot of Let's Plays or Let's Players will just give like funny commentary. I mean, you can really make it your own, do what you want with it, but that's what I grew up with, like the in-depth stuff, like, and just the more, I don't know, just informational Let's Play. So the idea of it originally was just to let people, you know, watch the game with people commentating over it, you know. So you're basically just watching people. It's like the precursor to Twitch, honestly, because you're just watching a person or people play a game and put commentary over it. So that's how.
Is it live?
No, it's all pre-recorded.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the precursor to Twitch in that you're just watching someone playing a video game. So there's no real interaction. Back in the day, you could interact with them over forum or YouTube comments or whatever, but it wasn't live interaction really, per se.
Gotcha. Interesting. And how did you get to Twitch then? So,
the evolution of that is, I think people just started gradually gravitating towards Twitch from, like, Let's Plays, because it's live, you can actually be interactive. You know, first playthroughs are a little more friendly for that for Twitch than it would be Let's Play. So yeah, I would, the YouTube creators I watched kind of migrated to Twitch. I would watch them, you know, live, just 100% lurk though. I didn't really interact with anyone. But it was still just cool watching these people I kind of grew up with that are just moved to Twitch at that point, you know, and watch them still.
Around what age was this, would you say? Like, was it like teenage years, or is it?
It was probably around 17, when I was 17, 18. But then I just kind of got bored. Honestly, I kind of got bored of the whole Twitch thing. It was always in the back of my mind. So then what I started doing, because I didn't interact anyway, so I would just start watching them on YouTube, you know, VODs, because they would upload the VODs of the stream to YouTube. So I would start watching them on YouTube instead when they put them up. And from there, that's when I actually saw Leanne's videos being suggested to me.
So funny.
Yeah.
How did she get suggested to you? Because our friend Leanne, like she's partner on Twitch and stuff, but I would not say that her YouTube presence is as has taken off in similar directions.
Right. As of right now, yeah.
Yeah. As of right now. There's some good content there.
Oh yeah.
For sure. But yeah.
But yeah, so I honestly don't know. It could have just been the algorithm, because I would watch I think it's Vlarg Skeletor or something. It's that what's his name? Joel from Vinesauce. So I would watch his VODs, and I think the algorithm just started pushing content that was kind of related to her in that way. So I just saw, you know, it just started recommending me more streamers, and I saw Leanne's, and I watched it on YouTube, and from there, you know, I just saw that it was a more interactive community. I was like, wait, there's interactive communities on Twitch, like streamers that actually talk to people, and like a community that actually interacts more with each other instead of just talking to the streamer. So from there, I was just like, you know, because I hadn't been in communities for a while at that point in my life, which was fairly recently. I want to say it was like 3 years ago, maybe 2.5 now, one of those two. So I just started easing back into it, into communities. So I followed her on Twitter and just kind of got more of a vibe. I lurked a few streams, and I was like, okay, I really do like the vibes here. I like what I see. And yeah, that's when I actually started interacting with her, interacting with the community. And yeah, it was great. And now we're here. I'm doing a podcast with you.
Yeah. Yeah, because basically I've been wanting to start incorporating question of how from your perspective, how did we meet? But essentially, Scott came, I was active in Leanne's community, but yeah, we just kind of started interacting, and then eventually, I guess, migrated over to my stream sometimes. And
yeah, because I think Leanne rated you once, or maybe mentioned you. I can't remember quite, because it's been a while.
Probably. We've been good buds for over 3 years now, so
yeah, and
I'm a common punching bag for her.
But yeah, I was like, you know what? I'll check out this Nat person, you know. So I went to your stream. You were playing Tetris 99. And I was just like, you know, I was just said hi to you. Yeah. You're good at Tetris, by the way. You're like way better than I am, honestly.
Why, thank you. I consider it to be one of the things I am like at least somewhat mediocre at. On Twitch.
Yeah.
Because to say that you're good at something like online for a video game, like you kind of have to have the chops to prove it. So I don't say that I'm good, but I will say I'm mediocre.
Yeah.
I can hold my own. I can usually get a win. Or easily get top 10 like a good chunk of games. Like it's for me it's a disappointment if I don't get top 10, and then we'll see how my how to like badges and stuff. I don't want to get too much into Tetris talk, but see how he's looking for momentum getting towards the end. But I do play a lot of Tetris.
Yeah. But
and not surprising that you came in on that.
Yeah. But yeah, I just, you know, you're doing all those T-spins. I'm like, whoa, she's got some skill. But yeah. So
fun to do.
Yeah, it's just funny because, you know, I went from watching her on my couch, because I watch YouTube on my TV primarily, and I was just like, it's just funny how I went from just watching her on my couch to actually being friends with her now, you know. So it's just funny how life works like that.
Yeah, and not in like a weird parasocial way, like exclusively. Like it's like, no, we're legitimately friends. Yeah, we are and likewise with us too. Like I consider us to be like
I consider you a good friend too, for sure. Yeah.
Aw. Okay. How would you say, like, for you, how your internet friends differ from your IRL ones?
So internet friends for me, I've always had way more internet friends than I have real life friends. And as far as how they differ, internet friends, I would say express themselves way more. Because there's a more of a comfortable sort of feeling, I guess. I don't know how I'd quite describe it.
Yeah, but I understand. Yeah, the culture is very different.
It is
very surprising. Like when people, like I feel like people who haven't like say made a lot of friends online, like it's kind of like an eye roll thing to be like, oh, internet culture, but it's like no, it's like a legitimate thing. Once you like kind of go into it, then you kind of get it. But yeah, like, because obviously there can be some anonymity that can be a little terrifying, you know. But whenever you do kind of make a connection with someone, especially in these tighter knit communities that are smaller and like say not only in stream you're interacting, but then also in Discord, it kind of presents it like it's pretty quick to like where you have to talk about things and it's not just small talk about the weather or anything.
Like, that's actually,
you're kind of there for a shared reason of like, oh, I like this game as well as you do, you know.
And then it just kind of snowballs from there. And like small talk, that's very shunned in online communities. Trust me, I've been on online communities forever. So I've seen so many people try to just make small talk, and those people are usually just gone out of a community in like days. You don't see them anymore.
Yeah, because like it's not. It's hard to, if you don't have too much substance in your conversations, or I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting how that works.
It is, and as a teen, I actually had these two friends. And I learned at a very young age that you try to not mix your online friends with your real friends. Because back in the day, I played a lot of Animal Crossing Wild World. And I just built all these connections because of the Wi-Fi connectivity on that. And my real life friends were like, oh yeah, I play Animal Crossing Wild World. And yeah, we can get on, you know, on Wi-Fi or whatever. So I had like my online friends at my town. And then, like, my real-life friend would come, and it just didn't mix well. Because, like, we're all over here, like, you know, just being goofy or whatever. And then, like, my real-life friend would be just, like, out of the loop. And then there was this weird tension, too. And then, like, we met back up in real life, and he was just kind of like, oh, that Animal Crossing, I don't think I'll be coming to your town again. I was like, okay, that's how you feel.
Yeah, I have very few IRL friends who watch my streams. Yeah, and if anything, I have very few IRL friends who like video games in general.
Yeah.
So, few people I can talk to about it, like in that capacity, and like some people have revealed some interesting assumptions whenever I say that I stream, if I do care to share that I stream,
Right. Yeah.
or that I watch streams and stuff. So
yeah,
those are fun.
yeah, because the real life culture for streaming is a very different direction. So
yeah, which is part of why this project that I'm doing with this podcast is like kind of just showcase some connections that we have and like what people are like that have found enjoyment on this site.
Yeah. I think that's a great thing, honestly. So yeah, you're doing good work here.
Thank you. I mean, it's also an excuse just where I get to just chit chat, you know.
Yeah.
It's very kind of fun to learn more about it too.
Yeah, podcasts in general, which can just be really fun. So
yeah, kind of related to like friendships and stuff. You consider your best friend to be someone you met online.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to chat about how y'all met?
Yeah, absolutely. So not only do I consider him a best friend, but he's practically like a brother to me. We met about 15 years ago, I want to say, back in 2008, I believe. So we've been friends like super long time. Yeah, like neither of us even talk to the people that were in the community that we met in anymore. Like they're long gone. We just stuck together. So Jeremy, he's practically my brother. And I value his friendship greatly. We met on something called ZatChat, like xat.com.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was supposed to be like ZatChat or like in Chinese, isn't X like kind of like a cha? I don't know.
It's more of like a
Yeah.
And the Q is more of like a ch sound.
Okay, gotcha. So I guess it was supposed to be said Zat then. I could never figure that out. But regardless, we met there. Someone else actually brought him in from a Pokemon community. And we were just kind of like this spin-off community. I mentioned earlier Insider, Nintendo's official forums. There was an Insider 2, and that kind of folded quick because the guy who made it was shady. So from there, we created our own spin-off.
That also happens a lot.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, sadly. But, I mean, it's, it is what it is kind of thing.
Yeah.
But from there, one of the guys made a Zat, which was just like a quick messaging. So, like, Yahoo Messenger, AOL, the AIM Messenger. It was basically that, but just one big group chat. And
that's pretty fun.
Yeah. So he created it, and it was called Ahem. And so from Ahem, there was this guy on there, and he went to a Pokemon community, for like competitive battling. And so he brought Jeremy over to Ahem, and my name at the time was Kyogre Master. So he was like, oh cool, you're Kyogre Master. We started talking about Pokemon, and it just really snowballed into this great friendship that I cherish forever. He's helped me through so much in my life, and we just kind of have each other's back, and we just chill, we just game, talk about life, and I couldn't have asked for a better friend. I don't think I could have met him in real life if I tried, or a friend like him in real life, I should say.
And y'all haven't met?
No.
Actually, like in person?
No, before, to this day, 15 years or so, 15 years plus, I'd say. Still haven't met. We were supposed to, and then the pandemic happened, and from there, it just schedules didn't align. Like, we probably could now. I really should get with him on that to schedule something. Financially, things are going to look a lot better for me this year, too, so I could definitely plan something. For sure. Yeah,
that'd be super epic because he's in like Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto-ish, we'll say. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I highly agree with like two people in my bridal party are people I met online, including Leanne,
Yeah.
but then also Nina,
Yeah.
who I like to say is my twin. Like, we both will say that because that was something where when we first started meeting and chat, like in my first Twitch chat that I like was getting into, we both would just kind of randomly just post the same thing at the same time, like, and it would happen on a day, like on like almost an hourly basis, like, or just like ask a question, like, and then like immediate, like, just like comment about something that was just like would be answering that, but just like bringing it up, and yeah, we just ended up going through a lot of things together and being there for one another and experiencing a lot of big life events that yeah, I'm just very grateful to have had her in my life and had to have met her online. And because I don't know how much I would have, or how, yeah, I don't know how I would have met someone like her in any other capacity.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it means a lot, enough to me, yeah, for her to be in my wedding party. Leanne just begged to be in it, so that's why she's there. Just kidding. I love you, Leanne. Leanne is like a little sister to me, honestly. So, like, the way that we banter and stuff, and I love looking out for her as well. I feel like I have a protective urge whenever I like, if like something is happening for her, that I'm like, no, I want to step in, and like, because I'm an only child, so it is interesting where I've gotten to learn, I guess, or at least feel what feels like would be sibling dynamics.
Yeah, for sure. That,
and so
yeah, I have that with my sister. Yeah, so I know how it is to want to be there and protect them and whatnot, so definitely get that. But yeah, you know, my mom, she's always been really supportive of me being in online communities. She's always said, like, you know, the world's a big place, you know, you never know who you're gonna meet, there's more than just this area, that sort of thing. So yeah, I've never had my mom be like, no, you can't talk to this person. As a kid and teen, obviously she can't do anything now, but still, I've never had my mom discourage that.
Even after the slut incident.
Yeah, even after the slut incident.
So
yeah. So yeah, it's just you never know who you're gonna meet online, honestly. And I've had the majority of my interactions have just been positive rather than negative.
Yeah, I would say the same, and the ones that are negative, they kind of get pushed aside real quick.
Yeah, typically,
like, because it's just like, okay, cool, I'll block them, like, or just like, don't want to see that person, so, or they remove themselves from a situation, whatever.
Yeah.
So
that's always the best, when they
quick
just
to filter it in. So you don't have to be, I mean, in some ways, like, there's definitely, within a community, there's people that maybe are there that are different from you, but you're like, I don't know if we necessarily 100% vibe.
Yeah.
But it's not like, there's still, like, ways that you, like, interact with people, that is, like, you still learn a lot about the world, and people that are different from you and stuff, and, yeah, and as long as they're a kind person, like, they're usually fine. In like most communities and stuff, so
yeah, exactly.
And
yeah, you're never going to, like, I mean, I think that's just true in general. You're never going to, like, just mesh with anyone, whether it be online or everyone in online communities or real life. But yeah, you also get to the benefit of learning other cultures as well. It's like, if you meet someone from another country and, you know, you kind of hit it off with them and just talk about cultures, that sort of thing. Yeah,
because geography isn't an issue at all. Like, geographical barriers are not a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's pretty chill, and also, like, because you get to just have your own little physical, like, the physical space is, like, you get to just, like, worry about communication, as opposed to, like, a lot of, like, say, physical sort of communication if, like, you're in a room with someone trying to communicate and stuff. Like, there's way more elements in play.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, say, typing exclusively, or even, like, I mean, I feel like a lot, like, many people are aware of this now with, like, having gone through the pandemic and Zoom calls and stuff, to like learn the difference between learning via Zoom versus learning in class and such.
Yeah. They finally caught up to us.
I also don't know. Yeah, in that capacity, they can at least relate in that sense. Yeah. But also, like, I don't know how many. I still don't think that many people have met people online because of pandemic.
No, definitely not. I don't think that that's really changed much at all. in that regard. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think now we can transition to the questions I like to ask every week. So, what is something, video game or otherwise, that has you currently pog-champing, has you pause-champing, and something you're pretty resident sleeper about?
Pog-champing. So just the Yakuza series right now. I'm currently playing the 8th game, Like a Dragon, I guess I should say, since they kind of rebranded it that way. But I'm playing Like a Dragon 8. I've made it to Hawaii. It's just it's such a good game. And I'm not even like halfway through it, and I probably won't be for a while because there's just so much content in this game.
Yeah. I've seen some people play it, and I know how many hours it can take.
Oh yeah.
I've never played one myself, but yeah.
I think on average they usually average about 50 hours. If not more.
That is quite an average.
Yeah, I think this 8th installment, it's going to like blow that out of the water, because I got 8 hours in and I was still on chapter 1, and that was me just going through the story. Gosh. So I don't know.
Yeah. Eesh.
Yeah,
but that's a cool PogChamp anyway.
It's very PogChamp, yeah. And
okay, so pause-champing.
Switch 2. When are we gonna? We're in February now. Nintendo Direct is due. We got to see.
Yeah.
We have to see this soon. Nintendo, bring it.
Yeah, something's in the works.
Yeah. Because the Switch has been out since 2016. I want to say maybe 17.
2017.
Yeah.
I have a very direct memory of going to the midnight release.
Yeah.
And also being a big Breath of the Wild person.
Oh,
I'm used to having, whenever I do submit for speed runs and stuff, having to put the year.
2017, yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, just bring it to us, Nintendo. We know it's in the works. It's been 8 years or so. Give it to us.
Come on.
And
it's Resident Sleeper.
Yeah, PS5. What are you doing, Sony?
Yeah.
I don't, like, there's maybe 10 exclusives. Like, there's plenty of third-party games and stuff. Yeah. But if you're gonna make a console, give me a reason to buy the console. And
yeah, especially when it's so expensive.
Yeah, it's like basically $600 if you want the disc, the one with the disc drive.
Not including the controller.
Yeah.
That often you could get before you could get the actual console.
Yeah, exactly.
That was so funny to me.
That was weird. I don't know what the marketing strat was there, but yeah.
Yeah, it's some sort of production issue, I guess. Like why you could get the controller before the console. Yeah. I don't know why they didn't just hold it, but
me either.
Oh well. Yeah, let's see. I could also answer this. What is something I'm PogChamping? I am PogChamping. I finished the main storyline in Dave the Diver.
Oh, nice.
And that was fun. And I'm very excited that I can still... It's like you finish the main storyline, but you can still keep playing.
Oh, okay.
Run your little sushi restaurant, which is my favorite component.
Yeah.
The storyline I enjoyed, but I also was a little too historian on it, where I was just like, ooh, I see some white saviorness happening here.
No.
Interesting portrayals of indigeneity, but I can take my step back and just recognize it as like I don't know. It's just an interesting thing to then think about, but it doesn't take away my enjoyment of it.
Yeah. Just want to say, I did watch you play that. A great game, great cutscenes. I just don't understand why they made that one character like an otaku, but he really looked like he was more on the weeb side. I don't know. I felt like that was just really
that guy,
weird.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I just straight up felt like that guy. It seemed like I just blocked him out of my mind. It's like how you upgrade your it's like how you upgrade your weapons and stuff to like catch fish and stuff. It's like this guy who's like very epitome, I don't know, of like weeb culture, and is like very fixated on figurines of like Japanese girls.
Yeah.
And they don't shy away from it at all. You're just like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
they really lean into it.
I don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but love the game.
Yeah, great game. You excited for the Godzilla stuff coming to it?
Really?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually hadn't heard about that. All right, that's my pause champ then, is
Oh.
learning more about this.
Okay, cool. Yeah, they're
All right.
making Godzilla DLC. It's like a crossover event thing, so.
Ooh, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also really want to play Dredge now because of the crossover that they have with that as well.
Yeah.
But what's something I'm pretty resident sleeper about? Here's one that's a little may not offend people, but it's definitely something that a lot of people love is Dead by Daylight.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know that.
I never got into Dead by Daylight.
Me either. Yeah.
Not, I don't know, just wasn't. The times I've even watched it, I'm like, I don't know, I don't get it, but
it looks.
maybe it's just a me thing.
It looks fine. I don't think it's really my thing. Maybe if you're playing it with a group of friends, but.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, yeah.
But
because I imagine that'd be a fun little dynamic there.
Yeah, but beyond that, for me personally, I don't see it either. I don't see the. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been enjoying Lethal Company though, which is like a similar-ish kind of game, I guess, in the horror realm. So it's not like horror games in general, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say yeah. DBD. I mean, it's a little. I feel like it's not as popular these days.
No,
compared to like a couple years ago.
It's definitely waned. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what is your favorite emote as of right now that immediately pops up in your brain?
Pika Ramen. It's I think it's just a emote of Pikachu eating ramen, and it was made for like the Worlds that happened recently, and I believe it was Yokohama, and it was just Pikachu eating ramen. It's so cute.
Yeah, I'll put it down below, whether it's a podcast description or YouTube description. So,
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, Scott, where can people find or not find you?
Yeah, so you can find me in most social media areas. Twitter, or X or whatever, it's 2DBlur. TikTok, also 2DBlur there.
Viral sensation on TikTok, I might
Viral
add.
sensation, what can I say? I just know how to make the content. YouTube, youtube.com/2DBlur.
Also viral sensation.
I'm really hoping so one day. I have 2 videos on there. One's about Pokemon, Red and Blue. It's just really a full overview of Red and Blue. I look at things that other PokeTubers don't really talk on, like the actual story of Pokemon Red and Blue. You might not realize it, but there's a lot going on under the hood of that game, story-wise. And you have to seek it out yourself. If you don't talk to the NPCs, you don't like read the books or whatever laid out in the game, you'll never know it. Like the average person just runs through it, but there's a lot to unpack there. And I promise if you watch my video, you will come out learning a lot more than you knew about Pokemon Red and Blue.
I still need to see it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love Red and Blue.
Yeah, it's like 30 to 40 minutes long, so it's a bit of a watch, but if you watch it, I'd really appreciate it, and yeah, give me any feedback you want.
Yeah.
The other game I did a video about is called Pulseman, which was made by Game Freak, which Game Freak made Pokemon. Pulseman, it's a more niche title. I really just do a full overview of the game. I even did some translation work myself from the game's manual, because I own a physical copy with the manual and just get into the story, because the game back then the stories were in the game's manual, and
Okay.
so nowadays everything's just in the game, but back in the day a lot of companies relied on the manual to spell things out for you. So I would actually really like to speedrun Pulseman too. It's a really fun game.
Coming at twitch.tv/2DBlur.
Yeah. I don't think anyone even runs it, to be honest. It'd probably be one of those niche titles that I just have the record on because no one else is doing it. But yeah,
you never know with those older games.
Yeah.
But...
And then I'm trying to get back into Instagram. It's kind of dead at the moment, but on Instagram it's the 2DBlur. Because just 2DBlur was taken, I don't know. So I just did the 2DBlur.
These fans that take your handles.
I know. It's savage. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Always love chatting with you.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, love chatting with you, Nat.
That's it.
Yeah. And thank you for listening, dear viewer or listener.
Alright, y'all. Wasn't that a fun episode with Scroot? Okay, Scott. I love talking with Scott. Even if it happened 3 times, it's all good. Because we got to chit-chat, and we kept talking even more after we finished recording. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Humans of Twitch. Like and subscribe if you did like what was being played in your ear holes. And yeah, all the things. Anyway, I will see you next week for another wonderful guest and episode. See y'all then. Bye!